Tonight's episode, we're sticking with some of the basics, and we need to do trimming. So, I think the last episode we did just basic cylinder, right? Consistency of the pot's really important. It should be like a block of cheddar cheese. It should feel moist, like it wants to rub off on your finger, but not actually rub off. It shouldn't misshapen when you're holding it. It should feel firm, but still feel moist. It's very important. And so I teach it this way. It's spinning, centrifugal force is acting on it. Use this hand as a guide to tell you when you've tapped it on center, and just spin it and count on centrifugal force. And the closer you get, the lighter you tap. Oh, there she is. I usually use 3 wads. Right, so you want to have sharp tools, and so this is what comes in the typical pottery tool kit, and there's a lot of different trim tools. There's these open hook tools. There's actually, I use the metal rib a lot to trim as well. But we'll show you these basics. We call this one the big loop. And you see it should come off in ribbons like this. Notice I'm pinning the pot down with my left hand, and I'm touching my right hand with my left thumb. And that helps everything steady. I've got my right arm on my femur, holding it really steady. Speed's my friend here. Now you know your pot's the wrong consistency if it's going and dust is flying up in your face. That pitch will tell you how thick it is. It takes time to learn the pitch, but basically the higher the pitch, the thinner the bottom is. I take the round end of the tool, I turn it slightly to the right. In other words, I'm turning the tool slightly this way. I start from the middle and pull it out towards 3 o'clock. I want to leave this part higher than this part, as I mentioned earlier, because I don't want it to pivot. It'll be a top or a dreidel. It may be hard to hear the difference. I usually flip over to the square end of the loop tool, so I call that the round end, and I call this the square end. And then I make this real clean. I like to use this ferrule here to burnish this and push that clay down and make sure it's perfectly smooth. Now I'm going to cut that groove in I was talking about earlier. So I use the corner of the tool and I'll cut in to create a hand hold, fingertip hold rather. Hold that by my fingertips. And I know that this is lower than this, and this should be flat. I'm just going to put a handle on it, and then I'm going to count on my glazing to activate this surface. It's got a kind of a subtle little bend here. Probably put the handle off of here, and then probably trail some glaze or slip or something. But we can only do so much in one video. So use the same color clay and add magic water. It's Lana Wilson's recipe, but it's basically just a little bit of soda ash, a little bit of sodium silicate. This is the preferred score tool. So it gets, there's a lot of little teeth there. You want to make your blank. So your blank should look very similar to a tongue. So should we do the Gene Simmons? If you want to do your Gene Simmons, you got to go ahead and do this. This. You gotta grow your hair out. Fatten up this end. Add a little slip. Now people have a lot of different preferences on handles. I like them to be kind of wide and flat at the top and taper down, and that's why I do my blank this way. Then I'll touch it to wherever there's an imperfection. Okay, here, then. And then I'll score that up. Little slippy slip. Little slippy slip here. Score that up. The better interface between the pieces, the better. So basically, you want to have the pieces locked like that. So by breaking up the surface and adding the slip, which is kind of like, I guesstimate where I'm going to hit. Wiggle that on there. Blendy blend. All the way around. Down. Get a little lift. And then I want to sight it in that negative area right there. That's what I'm worried about. That's the space your hand's going to be. So I need to determine exactly where that should be. I usually sign with the ballpoint pen as opposed to like a needle tool. We have a ball stylus that you can use that works really good, or a sgraffito tool works really well. But 9 times out of 10, I wind up grabbing a little big round. I'll usually write my name in all caps. I'll give as much information as possible so Antiques Roadshow will know exactly who made it. I write the year. I write North Carolina because obviously we are the clay state. We have bragging rights. And then I usually write what clay body it is. And this is, I believe this is Red Rock. The clay really affects the end product. So, thanks for watching.